always, because if you don't, and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
War Room Pandemic. It's Saturday, the 25th of April, the year of our Lord 2020. We're live from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., on Capitol Hill, just yards away from the Supreme Court in the plaza that holds the capital of the United States of America. This is our third special in a row, on the third Saturday in a row. Descent into Hell, Part 3. The Chinese people confront the Chinese Communist Party. First two episodes were about life in China under the Chinese Communist Party for the Chinese people. And our second special was about Wuhan specifically, what actually happened in Wuhan. Now we're going to pivot today to talk about what life is under and how they can confront the Chinese Communist Party as the world starts to consider how to confront the Communist Party. Episode 138 with over 6.5 million downloads, the hottest, oldest show about pandemics. The pandemic, the economic crisis, the financial crisis, the geopolitical crisis, on the John Fredericks Radio Network, on the streaming service americasvoice.news, which is the backbone of the Trump revolution, headquartered out in Colorado. We really want to thank the team. Dish Channel 219 they are. Also in Newsmax TV, now in 70 million homes. Also FM 99.1, 103.9 in Chicago, on Nexus.org and IRRS throughout the entire known world, 250 million English-speaking people on their radios. And of course, later in the day, through the good offices of the folks at GTV and Grow Media and G News, subtitled in Mandarin, blown through the firewall to the VPN so that the people in China can have a small taste of freedom and understand that there's a whole world that's not just pulling for them, but now fighting with them for their freedom. Okay, we've got a huge show today. We're going to get to many voices, Chinese voices, telling you what it's like to confront the Chinese Communist Party and how they're doing it day by day in this fight for freedom. Miles Guo is going to join us a little later in this segment. But I want to start first. We got breaking news, Jack, I want to get to, and we're bringing Jason Miller. A lot going on overnight in Washington, D.C., about the politics of it, about this confrontation with the Chinese Communist Party. But you've got some breaking news, an exclusive out of South China Morning Post.
Exclusive from the South China Morning Post. There was a G20 call scheduled yesterday afternoon, video conference call that had been in the works for some time. It was canceled at the last minute by the CCP. And the source who declined to be named said that the nature of it was that the U.S. wanted to see that the World Health Organization be held accountable for their failures. And the source said that the Chinese government will under no circumstances see that the World Health Organization get investigated and this be turned into something political.
Kaboom. On a day that we're reporting right now on the Wikipedia site, which we think is pretty up to date, 927,000 of your countrymen now infected with CCP virus, COVID-19. They're reporting 52,415 dead. We will be, I think, before our Monday morning show, Greg and Jack, I think we'll be at the level of Vietnam at 57,000. Remember, Vietnam was 9 or 10 years. This has been, 8 weeks? Okay, I want to pivot now. I want to bring in Jason Miller. Jason, the first question I've got to ask you, how these conference calls with G7 and G20 are so big and so important. They're not held. They're held very rarely, right, to get everybody on the phone to talk about this global issue we have, the nations of the world to stand up. It's canceled because the United States of America wants to put on the agenda the World Health Organization being an accessory before the fact of the premeditated murder of what the Chinese Communist Party did by withholding this information and publishing on the 12th of January in a note, and then on 14th of January in a tweet, that after consultation with senior officials in the Chinese government, their health minister, there was no human-to-human transmission. We understand they knew this in late December. Dr. Li, the great martyr of Wuhan, knew this and told everybody he was tortured, had to sign a confession that was untrue. He's a rumor monger. To put that on the agenda, and to have the Chinese Communist Party in Beijing cancel it, how does the South China Morning Post, the only guys that got the story, you can't tell me the New York Times, the Washington Post, it's like what's driving me crazy here, you see the shift in people's attitude. You see the shift in what we're going to talk about in a second, in the Republican Party's thing. But the mainstream media still is crickets. They're crickets on the Pew study. They're crickets on this. You can't tell me, Jason, as many guys as they have covering the White House, that they did not know yesterday, given the president's schedule, right? And the president in there signing the document and having this, all they're worried about is the bleach, okay, in the sunlight, which is, this is signal in the noise. That's just noise. Okay, that's just noise. That's just the mainstream media. How do they not know that a G20 conference call of the heads of the 20 top countries in the world to talk about the biggest event that's happened in the world since World War II, right? That's canceled because the World Health Organization being criminally negligent with the Chinese Communist Party, and the Chinese Communist Party cancels it, and we have to hear it Saturday morning from the South China Morning Post, which is owned by Jack Ma, I might note, a member of the Chinese Communist Party. And I admire what the guys at the South China Morning Post in their newsroom, I know every day is a tough day for them because I think they break some great news, but they obviously have some people in there that are useful idiots and running dogs for the CCP. So, Jason, please explain to me how that happens.
Well, the number one thing, Stephen, you hit the nail on the head here, is that this would prove President Trump is right. This would prove that this whole globalism trend that's taken us in the wrong direction over the past couple of decades has been in the wrong direction. I mean, the fact that we can't even hold the WHO, where we're the single biggest funder to, can't hold them accountable for their being willfully complicit with the CCP. The fact that we can't go and actually hold the Chinese accountable on the world stage shows you just where this current trend line is. But part of it also, Steve, I think, is many in the media, not all, but many in the media, I think are, I mean, for lack of a better term, not very bright. I mean, take a look right now, literally right now on CNN, they have Sesame Street up there, the ABCs of COVID-19, they have some purple character up there dealing with big feelings. And that, I mean, that's what CNN is running this morning. I mean, Hold
on. Stop. Is Big Bird up there? Is the ABC, is the C, the CCP? Is that the C in the ABC? If that's the C in the ABC, I'm feeling good. If Big Bird's talking about the Chinese Communist Party and how they're responsible for the deaths in Wuhan and the deaths in Hubei and the deaths in Queens and the deaths in Lombardy, then Big Bird's okay. Is C CCP or not?
I don't know, but I think Big Bird, I haven't seen him, so maybe he's cooked. I don't know. But I mean, because I heard that everyone could get a ventilator.
Is Big Bird a running dog? Big Bird, are you a running dog for the CCP? Are you a useful idiot? Stand up, Big Bird.
I don't know. Maybe CNN, being so depressed that they're always behind the Cartoon Network in ratings, has just decided to become the Cartoon Network. But that's where we are in the media. And so the fact that every morning before we do the broadcast, I'm flipping around and monitoring the news, and I can't believe that CNN literally has the ABCs of COVID-19. Which, first of all, if you're a parent and you have to sit your kid down in front of with Sesame Street and dealing with big feelings to be able to talk to your kids about coronavirus and the changing world, then you're doing it all wrong. I mean, brainwashing your kids with CNN on a Saturday morning is doing it all wrong. But I do think that if they were to pay attention to this story, and this is a massive story, Steve, and Jack and Greg and the rest of the team, I mean, to have this G20 meeting be canceled simply because we can't hold them accountable is unconscionable.
I want to go to now the pivot. We'll get to the numbers in a second. The Politico's reporting that there's some consternation inside the White House and other places about the numbers of deaths. That was something we've been talking about all week. These deaths are going to be we're going to hit the 60,000 by Wednesday, and they're supposed to be by August. And now that's kind of the discussion of the University of Washington and why we're depending on outside models and not doing our own. But I want to flip to this really massive story coming from Alex Eisenstadt in Politico. Jason, tell the audience how the world works. They handed this story to Eisenstadt and said, just type, right? They gave him a memo. It's a 50-page memo from the Republican Senate committee, which oversees the running of the races for the Senate. Remember, the Senate is in play here, right? So these guys, and it's all about how Republican candidates are supposed to focus on China and the CCP. Take it, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, this is typically something that you see in maybe September or October of an election year, usually specific to a race where you're telling people that they can go and separate themselves from the top of the ticket. We saw this back in the fall of 2018, where candidates were told they can separate themselves from President Trump, run on your own merits, try to be your own candidate, essentially saying you have a hall pass to now split off from President Trump and run separate. Here is the absolute fool's gold in this. The buried lead, of course, is that they're this early in the cycle, that we're in April of a presidential year, that Senate candidates, whether they're incumbents or candidates running in seats as challengers or open seats, they're being told, don't worry about supporting President Trump, do your own thing. Feel free to run independent and, in fact, encourage.
Don't support him. Don't defend what he did on the pandemic. Just defend what he did against China. Defend the fool's gold the blockade and everything he does against CCP.
Right, but here's the thing that's the complete fool's gold in that is if we don't have a strong President Trump, none of these endangered candidates or candidates in tough races are going to win. If we don't have a strong President Trump, you're not going to see Collins coming back. You're not going to see Gardner coming back. You're not going to see McSally coming back. Now, you can make a case that some of these seats might be gone, or maybe in the case of some of them, they're not that strong of candidates, or it's just too tough of a seat for a Republican in a presidential year. There are all sorts of things to go through, but the fact of the matter is we need a strong President Trump, and the further that you have division and saying, hey, Senate candidate, you can just go and take a walk and not be supportive or even be dismissive of President Trump, all that does is exacerbate your problems with swing voters and with solid Trump voters who only show up and vote for President Trump.
Jump in here, Greg, if you want to. Here's the thing I thought was most interesting for our audience. This is the power move. The consultants they retained that did this clearly read the Pew study and know the numbers in the Pew study, which the mainstream media, you don't hear about the G20. It's been crickets on one of the most important polling results that have come out in the last year. The Pew, which is kind of the held up as like the platinum standard, came out last week with this thing we talked about on the show, but that's the only people to talk about it. About how 90% of the American people are now united about this. 2/3 of the American people know we have to confront China and the CCP. 70% of the American people do not trust President Xi. They think he's
not at all.
guy.
And this is where the media, the reason why the media is hiding this is because it shows that there's bipartisan anger with China. The fact that, as you said, Steve, over 90% of Americans see that the rise of power and influence of the Chinese globally is problematic. 72% of Republicans have a negative viewpoint of China. 62% of Democrats. The members of the media do not want to point to that because they want to make it sound like all Trump supporters are troglodytes or racists or race baiting or something like that, where the fact of the matter is China destroyed our economy. China has put us in a really bad place, and we know from the AP investigation and everything, the
most powerful part, the buried lead in the entire 50-page report is they finally get it. They say the biggest victims of the Chinese Communist Party are the Chinese people, and that they're our allies. And they say this is about the Chinese Communist Party. You focus on that. You focus on what the real enemy is. The entire country's united. The entire world's united. You see the G20's united. They want to hold the World Health Organization accountable and get the funding back. We're not saying stop the funding in perpetuity of the World Health Organization. Clean it up from all the running dogs and all the useful idiots of the Chinese Communist Party buried in there. Jason, thanks a lot for taking time away from your Saturday to join us here. Appreciate it. We'll get back. We'll talk about these other numbers with the team later. Jason, thank you very much. Appreciate it. See you Monday. Jason Miller, one of our cohorts here on WarRoom Pandemic. Okay, this is our special Descent into Hell 3. We wanted to tee it up. We're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to pay some bills here with some commercials. We return. The gentleman that started this all, I think, and focuses on the Chinese Communist Party, Miles Guo, who got his freedom when he left China in 2017. Remember, Amanda Bennett, the Voice of America, they tried to suppress the voice of a gentleman who from day one said the Chinese Communist Party is at war with the Chinese people, they're at war with the United States of America, and they're at war with all mankind. We're going to take a short commercial break. It's Descent into Hell Part 3. The Chinese people confront the Chinese Communist Party. We'll return with Miles Guo in just a second.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this. Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something.
If you can find something to help you get back out and be active like Copperfit, go for it.
Absolutely.
Do not give up. A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
I see what's possible instead of what's here. Others see cracked concrete, broken backboards, run-down courts. I see a way to bring pride back to communities. Art can change it all. Bright colors, a bold vision, and it can be somewhere that brings people together for games or hangouts or whatever. A place that makes people proud, like this is my neighborhood. That's why I made Project Backboard and a site with GoDaddy. How will you make your mark? Make the world you want.
Hi, Linda. Looks like you've got a prescription to fill. Any idea how much that's going to cost in there? The exact same drug that's $10 at this pharmacy is $150 at this one. GoodRx finds prices and discount coupons on every prescription. Just input the drug name and instantly find savings at virtually every pharmacy in America.
Next. What can I do for you?
Here's my prescription, and I have a coupon from GoodRx.
Nice price.
Stop paying too much for your prescriptions with GoodRx.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Broadcast throughout the known world and also on podcasts with 6.5 million downloads, over 100 million views of all of it on every apparatus from Facebook to YouTube to our distribution partners throughout the world. Now I want to thank the G News and GTV people who take the time and energy to actually subtitle this in Mandarin later in the day. So we blow through the firewall and go to the VPN so the people of China who thirst for freedom, that's what this is all about. You're going to see at the end of the day, this is once again the little guy, Lao Beijing, old 100 names, wants his freedom and he's suppressed by a totalitarian dictatorship. Now I want to bring on one of the most controversial guys, not just in America, I would say in the world. That's Miles Guo. I'm honored to call him a friend and a colleague. He is a man of true personal courage, and I've seen this up front over the last 3 or 4 years. And one of the things I see every time Miles comes out with something, he's always the Chinese Communist Party propaganda apparatus. Always, he's crazy, he's a nut job, he's a bad guy, he does this, he does that. But it turns out he's always right. It always turns out that he's right. Whether it's about HNA, whether it's about these financial scandals, these money laundering operations, the influence peddling. But particularly, he's the first person really in the world to start to bring out this concept that it's the Chinese Communist Party is oppressing the Chinese people, and they're going to spread that oppression throughout the world, and they're particularly going to target the United States in the West. And we have certainly seen this in this pandemic's brought it up in high relief. Miles, thank you very much for joining us on War Room Pandemic, Descent into Hell Part 3. The Chinese people confront the CCP.
Good morning, all the America, Sir Steve, Jackie, Justin. I'm very proud of joining the WarRoom again. Thank you, sir.
Miles, you came out, you got your freedom roughly around April, the spring of 2017, and the very first thing you did was to warn the world and America about the Chinese Communist Party. Walk us through what you told us back in 2017 that, unfortunately, not enough of us listened to. Walk us through what you told us back then.
Yes, sir. 2017, our first time I in the American VOA, Voice of America, first time interview. I want to whisper is the CCP controlled China, our company is the Hainan Airlines. So I see this is the guy behind the boss. China is anti is the movement. Its leaders Wang Qishan is the control.
We just lost Miles there for a second. Hopefully it'll come back.
Yeah. Yes, it's okay, sir. That's okay now. Can you listen?
I was just saying, I think he's talking about HNA, which is Hainan Airlines. It was a really unknown regional airline that became a $1 trillion privately held company financed by the Chinese government. And Miles Kuo brought up in the spring of 2017 on Voice of America in a live interview that it was actually controlled by senior members of the Chinese party as an influence peddling operation, a money laundering operation, a way to not just enrich themselves, but to do payoffs to financial institutions, banks, things throughout the Western world. Miles, are you back with us?
So yes, sir.
We've lost the audio.
You can.
Okay. So what Miles has been saying, this is what he said. He went to the National Press Club. It was a event that was going to be put on by the Hudson Institute. The Hudson Institute was here's Miles. Go ahead. We just lost your audio. Continue on.
Thank you, sir. So 2017, then because of the VOA, they stopped me interview. I think behind the CCP monopoly is they want to stop me, don't want the whistleblower talk to HNA in America. It's a representative CCP intelligence. And also it's the make it, it's a lot of block deal, make the corruption in America with a lot of, Wall Street and the politics and people. Then after the VOA, I get it's called Hudson, studio. It's want to go to speech. Also, last minute, it's Hudson is stop me, don't want me speech. Then I have the, in DC press conference. In the press conference, I talk to all the world, also America. I have the secret document. CCP have the two programs. One is called BGY, one is called 3F. They have the officially the program where America take down America, kill America. I see this the block time is coming in with America and the West of the world. That's my see. Thank you, sir.
Okay, hang on. I just want to summarize this for our audience. Miles, and by the way, I love how much your English is improved. It is much better than my Mandarin. Miles Kuo came and he did two things. Number one, he gave a live interview on Voice of America that Amanda Bennett, the head of Voice of America that President Trump has so much problems with, they pulled the plug for the first time in their history. They pulled the plug on a live interview. And the reason is they pulled it is they got a call from the Chinese embassy. That little weasel that's a Chinese ambassador to the United States, that guy is corrupt up to his eyeballs. Okay? He's on TV all the time. He's yammering all the time. This guy's totally and completely corrupt. He called over there and said, you got to pull the plug on this guy. Why? Miles Kuo was sitting there saying HNA, which is this massive financial companies, buying companies all over America, right? Buying companies all over Europe. It's a influence peddling and money laundering operation controlled by the Chinese Communist Party and the intelligence apparatus. And they pulled it. And by the way, in business with Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, all the American financial companies are sitting there lending them money, doing underwritings for them. And they're sitting there going, oh, Miles Kuo is a liar. Miles Kuo is this. 100% turned out 100% true. He sued them. They dropped all their lawsuits. They ran for the hills. HNA is now in receivership and bankruptcy in China because it was a complete Ponzi scheme. And Miles Grove brought up the fact that in New York City, there were 2 not-for-profit charities that controlled it. They called him a liar to his face. Voice of America, paid for by the taxpayers of the United States of America, kowtowed to the Chinese embassy to pull the plug on a live interview of a dissident that had escaped the Chinese Communist Party and was sitting there calling him out. Amanda Bennett should be fired today. She is a running dog for the Chinese Communist Party, okay? She's a collaborator. At the time, there's no reason that the Chinese embassy should be able to call any institution in the United States government and force it to stop the voice of a dissident. It's unacceptable. She's corrupt. She's married into the family, the Graham family that owned the Washington Post. They have big business dealings in China. She's totally corrupt. Her husband's corrupt. The family's corrupt. It's unacceptable. This is the elites that have sold out this country. And she's in one of the PBS, basically, of our foreign service. The Voice of America head, she's got to go. And this is not about my buddy Michael Pack being approved as the next guy to do it. Whoever you approve is better than her. She should be fired today. All of her emails should be gotten up. All of her phone records should get up. All the business records of her and her husband and Kaplan. They own the Kaplan education thing. What business they're doing with the Chinese. How tied they are to the Confucian Institutes. This is America while you're broke, while you're home, while you don't have a pension fund, you don't have a job, you're not watching baseball, you're not going to see football in the fall. The Chinese Communist Party has been empowered and enriched by the elites of the United States of America, and Amanda Bennett is Exhibit 1. And we have a definitive track record of what she did here to suppress the voice of Miles Grove, who called him out as 100% correct. Miles, it's unacceptable what they did. Then later he goes and gives a press conference underwritten by the Hudson Institute. The Chinese put so much pressure, they shut down the law firm. They do a cyber war attack to shut down the law firm's website and the Hudson Institute's website, and get the Hudson Institute to waive off, say he doesn't do a conference over at the National Press Club in the nation's capital of the United States of America. We allowed the Chinese Communist Party, through its running dogs, to suppress the voice of freedom. And this is why you're sitting at home with no paycheck. This is why you're sitting at home with no pension fund. This is why we have 52,000 Americans dead. I don't want to hear about the governors. I don't want to hear about the mayors. I don't want to hear about the president. All this, we're fighting each other. The enemy is the Chinese Communist Party. And this guy, Miles Grove, has been telling you that since 2017, and all the official apparatus in Washington has tried to do in the corporate world, all the banks, is suppress his voice. Why? He's speaking truth to power. Miles, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a short commercial break. If you can hold over, we want to hold you over. We've got so many other voices to get in here, but now I'm worked up because this is so outrageous. And Amanda Bennett and all your ilk, we're going to out all you people, okay? Because the blood's on your hands. If we had listened to Amanda Bennett, if you had listened to Miles Grove in the spring of 2017, we wouldn't have this problem. You're an accessory. You're an accessory before the fact. The World Health Organization, the Voice of America, all you elites, you're not going to get away with this. You're not going to get away with this. You have supported, you have elevated the voices of evil, and you have suppressed the voices of the good. Okay? The Pew study. Is Voice of America banging on the Pew study? Is that everywhere on their site, talking nonstop? The shift in the American people, Voice of America, is not because of you. Is not because of you. All you do is run down President Trump and support the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, we're going to take a short break. I'll go have another Red Bull. I'm not jacked up enough this morning. Miles Grove see, Miles, you triggered me again. Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. Descent into Hell Part 3. The Chinese people confront the Chinese Communist Party. We're going to look at their heroism when we return with Miles Grove in a moment.
Welcome to Drive Across America, brought to you by CarShield. I'm your host, Chris Berman. CarShield makes sure you don't pay for expensive car repairs. We all know the cars will break down And if your car is out of warranty, those expensive repairs could really be a disaster. That's where CarShield comes in. With coverage through CarShield, you'll never have to pay for covered repairs again, which is why I'm a very happy customer. Now let's hear from the fans. How has CarShield helped you?
I saved $6,000 on my engine.
Wow, and what about you?
They saved me $3,500 on my AC compressor.
Well, you heard it here, folks. CarShield is America's #1 auto protection provider for a reason.
When your car's check engine light comes on, that could spell big trouble for you and your wallet. An engine, transmission, or computer system breakdown could cost you thousands of dollars. But with CarShield, you'll never pay on covered repairs. CarShield covers practically all makes and all models, new or used.
The first 3 months, we saved $4,100.
CarShield saved me $7,000 on an engine and $3,000 on a transmission.
They saved $4,100 out of pocket.
CarShield's protected over 1 million Americans from expensive car repairs. It's the coverage that virtually pays for itself.
If your car is out of warranty, you're at risk of getting stuck with expensive car repairs. Call CarShield now and get towing, roadside assistance, and rental car coverage at no extra cost.
That's our show today, but don't drive another second without protection from CarShield. Why do we love CarShield?
CarShield cars go farther!
Now it's the time to make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed. And once your car breaks down, it's too late. Call 800-580-0521, 800-580-0521.
From roof to foundation, the damage to your home can be devastating, from clogged gutters, leaking roofs, rotting wood and fascia, and flooded basements. Protect your entire home with Leaf Filter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system. Once our ladders go up, you can put yours down forever.
One of the things that I like the most is that I don't have to get back on the ladder anymore.
Leaf Filter starts by cleaning, sealing, and realigning your gutters. We then install our micromesh screen over your existing gutters, which is guaranteed to filter out everything except for water.
Trying other products is what made us finally go to Leaf Filter.
And Leaf Filter's lifetime transferable warranty makes it an extraordinary value.
Leaf Filter is going to make my home more valuable, especially when I go to sell it.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Descent into Hell Part 3. The Chinese people confront the Chinese Communist Party. Hashtag War Room Pandemic. Really appreciate the community and the audience's feedback. The top of feedback, besides sending love to Miles Guo, was that Miles Guo is a deplorable. And we've been saying that from day one. Lao Beijing, which means old 100 names, is essentially the deplorables of China are just like the deplorables here in the United States. It's the unity of Lao Beijing and the deplorables that's going to assist in throwing off. It's the Lao Beijing that have to throw off the Chinese Communist Party, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Miles, I have one question. Something just happened at the top of the show that I would like your thoughts on for the American people. It's been reported in the South China Morning Post that the G20 meeting yesterday was canceled because the United States of America wanted to put on the agenda a discussion of the World Health Organization's relationship with the CCP during the beginning of this pandemic, and why they reported in mid-January that there was no human-to-human transmission and no community spread of this virus in China, in Wuhan and Hubei province, up until mid-January. And the Chinese Communist Party canceled it. Can you give the American people, why would the Chinese Communist Party not want to have a full and frank discussion to have them defend their what they've done with the World Health Organization in front of the 20 leading nations of the world?
Thank you, sir. You English better than me, but I understand your speech English, sir. I think yesterday they canceled the G20 meeting as 3 reasons. three reasons. One is the inside now is Xi Jinping is a big challenger. Wang Qishan, all the GOP, every people want to kill Xi, So him is a very, very risk now. So this is one reason. The second reason, the guys, CCP is arrogant. They don't want to talk your truth. They don't care G20. They just make normality. So this is the second reason. Three reasons, they don't want to talk to give you truth. They don't care what your opinion. That's all the reason. Another side, I think, sir, now I'm really painful every day, every second. Last weekend, how many American people died? Until today, it's just 1 week. How many American people died? More than 50,000. We are American all the world in the World War III. That's true. But I don't think so. PPE can solve the problem. I don't think so. The quarantine can solve the problem. Look, this is the disaster. It's the virus carrying from CCP. But not only virus can kill American, kill the world people. It's also the political regime, bureaucracy, lazy, greedy, also can kill the people. So everybody knows. If normally time, bureaucracy, maybe just waste your time, waste your money. But it's abnormally time. It's the bureaucracy and the greedy and where it can kill the people. Now, every second is happen. You look now, New York, blue sky, beautiful Sunday. But you look, every second American people is die. But this is in the quarantine. Sir, how do you think? We cancel the quarantine. We all go back to work. Who can guarantee Americans, the families, the child, don't get the transmission, get infected? How many people to die? But if we in the quarantine, this the infected means transmission rate never go down. This is why, sir, you are WarRoom talk the truth. But you look at all the rest of the world called officially famous media who talk the truth. This is second, the point second. I'm so painful that where's the media? Where's the media? Where's the intelligence? We only find out the truth. Who put the scorpion and the mosquito, the poison, release to the world? How do you think, sir? Even somebody put a mosquito, poison scorpion, put in your bedroom. You people, family people die. But what do? You say, oh, the scorpion and the mosquito were found. You put your family in the box, then waiting the mosquito, the gossiping goes wrong? No way, sir. You must be quickly find out who put the snake, poison, gossiping, and the mosquito in my bedroom, kill my family. This is why I always talk, sir. WarRoom is do good job, sir. You're a hero. All the Chinese, you say WarRoom is a hero. We need to find out who behind minority release the poison to America. That's solve the problems, stop the people to die. Only one solution, sir.
Miles, tell the American people, there's two things I want to get that you just mentioned, but I want to go back. I think it's the 3 Fs. You call it the 3 Fs. So you're saying right now, we got to get to the bottom of who put this poison into America, right? Obviously, it's the CCP, but you mentioned in 2017 this concept of the 3 Fs, the way the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, views the world and particularly views its mortal enemy. The mortal enemy of the Chinese Communist Party are the people in the United States of America, because they realize the deplorables are free people, and what they can't tolerate are free people. Please remember, in the American audience, of the 1.4 billion Chinese, there are only 90 million communists. Okay? So, Miles, what is this concept of the 3 Fs?
Sir, early the 2007. Seriously, I think the 2011, 2012. CCP intelligent guy is found me privacy meeting, telling me, Miles, I need your help. We have the program. We need investment. We need from American people, Earthbird Science. We are create people laboratory in the Wuhan. I need you find out French, UK people join this, donate money, and find out some of the science come here. So day one, I know CCP, they have the seriously officially planned. They develop biological weapon. The only one goal is to take down America, kill America. So this the guy now is still in the CCP Central Committee guy. The guy talking to me, Miles, we must have war with America. There's no doubt. We need early prepare how can use cheaper, easy, and 100% can kill America, wear America, take down America. They told me the plan. I definitely say no. I don't join in this. Wuhan laboratory is the P4. Then this guy, P4 lab, they found out the money from the America, from the technical people, science people from America. This is from the many engineer, many professor go back from America. So I know that the Wuhan is the P4 laboratory. I know the truth. This is why CCP not yesterday, not last year. It's the early, many years ago, they have the tigers, kill the America, take down America. You, sir, you have 2 days ago, you with me have the conference meeting. We found the China professor and about the virus. See, and him now in the Europe, him talking to me, Miles, I can put all the information, intelligence give you about the truth. But I don't scare the CCP. I'm scared of America. Because this is the Wuhan laboratory, P4, the money is from America, the technique from America, the intelligence from America. If I go to America, I worry American inside people kill me. That's shocking me. Sir, this is why CCP is have long time ago is prepare his biological weapon. Very easy, sir. This is the coronavirus. America very easy can know the truth. Where from? It's from natural, it's from the trees, it's from a laboratory. 100% everybody no doubt from laboratory. Who make this? Who want to make this? Easy. Then it's another only one answer. It's government control and there's another guys control. This American don't need 4 months. Don't need 50 people to die. America even seriously think this is the question, want to know the truth. One day, sir, the professor talk to you, talk to me, on the phone. Make the coronavirus very easy. But even you release, you want to find out, you can take it back. Impossible. This is called vaccine. Impossible find out. So you can put the use, it's please, sir.
Yeah, before we lose you, because we've got to go through, I want one more thing to get into. We got about 2 minutes. Is that you said at the beginning there's a huge fight between Xi and Wang Qishan inside the CCP right now about this whole debacle about their biological program, the P4 lab, and what's happened on the virus. Can you, in a minute and a half, very shortly, tell us what's the fight that's going on inside of China today?
Yeah. 1 week ago, and Central Committee is announced in the website. They raised the guy called Sun Lijun. It's 3 years ago. The guy is go to DC, want to take me back. The guy is a very important guy. It's China is called intelligent, officially the head chief. This is 100% follow Meng, follow Wang Qishan. It's a big help Xi Jinping called anti-corruption movement. The guy arrested a lot of millions of people. This is the guy also now in America intelligence system. Arrest this guy with the meanwhile, Xi and Wang Qishan and the Jiang family, all the GOP, they fight. This is inside the war. This is American opportunity. This is real opportunity. This is why 3 years ago I see inside the war can big help us take down the CCP. Now this happened.
Miles Guo, thank you very much. Very explosive interview. We're going to get this up on our site, and what we'll do is we'll subtitle, make sure everybody we'll hear it. We'll work on the subtitle this morning. Miles, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it. Appreciate you taking WarRoom Pandemic and having the companies you're associated with it subtitle this in Mandarin and blow it through the firewall so that it goes to the VPN so that people in China, the thirst for freedom, can listen to it and see it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Miles Guo. Very controversial. What Miles is saying and continues to say, that America is asleep. If you don't think the Chinese Communist Party didn't have an active program at these labs, you're kidding yourself. And he'll say that you're going to find it out all over time, but it's obvious now that if you held up everything, stopped all commerce with China right now and forced them to have the World Health Organization, CDC, and others to go into those labs, you absolutely would find out this did not come from a wet market. That's complete Chinese Communist Party propaganda. This is not from a wet market. This came out of those labs. It's going to be proven over time. Okay? This is not a conspiracy theory. These are facts. All you have to do is listen to the doctor, the Nobel Prize winner in France. He'll tell you. Okay, we're taking a short commercial break and return with another Chinese citizen in a moment.
Hello, and welcome to the biggest auto protection show on earth, brought to you by CarShield. I'm your host, Chris Berman. If your car is out of warranty or close to expiring, CarShield makes sure you don't have to pay for expensive auto repairs. That's why I'm a customer. Let's catch up with the action, where happy customers have saved thousands on car repairs.
The first 3 months, we saved $4,100.
CarShield saved me over $6,000 in engine repairs.
Those repair bills never had a chance. Look at those Hall of Fame dance moves. Saving money on expensive car repairs with CarShield will do that to you.
It's like having a suit of armor around my car.
I never have to worry about being taken advantage of when it comes to car repairs.
We're just happy with CarShield. They put a transmission in it and a motor. Who does that?
When your car's check engine light comes on, that could spell big trouble for you and your wallet. An engine, transmission, or computer system breakdown could cost you thousands of dollars. But with CarShield, you'll never pay on covered repairs. CarShield covers practically all makes and all models, new or used.
When it comes to protecting you from expensive repairs, there's a new sheriff in town. CarShield is rumbling and tumbling all over that repair bill. Goodbye expensive car repairs and hello savings. This guy just scored the CarShield hat trick. That's towing, roadside assistance, and rental coverage at no extra cost. That's what I call MVP protection. Don't get stuck paying for those expensive repairs. Call CarShield and tell them the Swami sent you.
Now it's the time to make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed. And once your car breaks down, it's too late. Call 800-580-0514, 800-580-0514.
At LiveFilter, we're on a never-ending journey to end gutter cleaning forever. Whoa! Way too dangerous, Bill. Say goodbye to that ladder. Way too clogged, Melissa. Those black gutters are causing serious damage to your home. Look at these cracks in your foundation. LiveFilter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system, will keep you safe and protect your home. LiveFilter's stainless micromesh screen fits over your existing gutters and is guaranteed to filter out everything except for water. No more leaves or debris in your gutters for the life of your home. Schedule your free gutter inspection and estimate, just like Paul. With LiveFilter's lifetime warranty, we guarantee you'll never have to clean those nasty gutters again. Everybody okay with that? Oh, yeah.
Call 833-LeafFilter or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Act now and save 15% off your purchase.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Live from the nation's capital, it's Saturday, the 25th of April, the year of our Lord 2020. This is a War Room Pandemic special, Descent into Hell Part 3. The Chinese people confront the Chinese Communist Party. Right before we bring on a citizen born in China, but now a citizen of the United States, a naturalized American citizen, and a deplorable, Jun. I want to go back to what Miles said. Remember, when this all information comes out, you're going to find out the technology, the money, this professor up at Harvard, all the universities, they've been hand in glove with the Chinese Communist Party, been hand in glove, taking money, taking the big cash coming out of China. It's just not the Wall Street banks and the hedge funds. They all took the money too, the corporations that used the slave labor in China and looked the other way in the Uyghurs and the Tibetan Buddhists and the Falun Gong and the underground house Christians, right? It's also the institutions. You talk about a renewal. We need a renewal of our institutions to remind the institutions what they actually stand for as far as freedom and liberty goes. All they're about now is the money. Here's the reason we're in this jam. You know the reason we're in this jam? The reason we're in this jam is that the elites, the party of Davos, the elites in the Judeo-Christian West lost faith in the underpinnings of the Judeo-Christian West and took the money from the dictators, Took the money from the dictators. They had all kind of justification for it, but they took the blood money of the dictators. That's why we're in this jam. The signal and the noise. Don't get hooked up in the noise. A lot of noise. Focus on the signal. In the fog of war, focus, focus, focus. It's the Chinese Communist Party and it's their business partners. And those business partners go into all the research universities. They didn't create the P4, the science that came with the P4 lab. Those scientists were trained here in the West, in joint ventures with the West, with the universities. How was it built? It was built by the French, right? The P2 lab, the CDC, the P2 lab, I think is built in direct work with our CDC. You see the World Health, the Fauci's group has a $3.5 million grant over there working on programs. So you're going to find a lot more. I'm not pointing on Dr. Fauci. This is normal course of business. This is normal course of business. Look at that Pew study. The Pew study done by the top research firm, one of the top research firms in the United States, in a seminal study that shows the shift in the attitudes of the American people. 70% thinks she's a bad guy. 2/3 think that the CCP is a real a present danger. 90% think that the United States has to lead the world because if the CCP leads it, it's going to be a bad place. Huge numbers. Crickets in the mainstream media. I've said from day one, for the years I've gotten everything right. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. The reason I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, it's in your grill. You don't have to know conspiracy. It's up in your face. It's in your face. But I also don't believe in any coincidences. There are no coincidences. Okay? The reason you're at home with no money, no job, no pension fund, no sports, you can't go out on a beautiful spring day, you got to wear a mask in the nation's capital, in the capital of the greatest democracy in the history of mankind, we have to wear a mask when you're sitting there talking. Do you understand in future times you're going to look back how humiliating that is to a free people? And I'm not arguing the health issues here. I'm saying the symbolism is, this is kowtowing to the Chinese Communist Party. And no, it's the reverse of racism. To have that firewall up, supported by American technology and American money, so that the people in China, who's a 4,000-year-old civilization, can't freely communicate on the internet with anybody, that's the racism. The racism is that, they don't really know how to handle themselves. That's why they have to have a dictatorship. That's why we look the other way. We look the other way because they have to have a dictatorship because they can't possibly, 1.4 billion Chinese, they can't possibly govern themselves. Have you looked at Hong Kong? Those kids in Hong Kong are the same as the Patriots in 1775, and all of us should be humiliated that we did not back them up more. They just put the top 20 guys in prison. Not one peep from the United States. We're all going to be held accountable for this. We're all going to be weighed and measured on this. We're all going to be judged on this. And don't blame your political leaders. Blame yourself. Now, all the information's out there. You have no excuse at all not to understand this. And I tell you what, is every time in our history, in the Revolution, in the Civil War, in the Great Depression, World War II, when the American people turn, they're the most unstoppable force in the history of mankind. The resolved mind of a free people not only has done the right thing, it succeeded in doing the right thing. We should be ashamed of ourselves that we've allowed it to get into this situation. Don't tell me about the models and the this, and you got to unlock. Yes, we have to do all that. But we've lost our way, and here's how we lost it. We allowed our institutions, the financial institutions on Wall Street, the corporate institutions, the public education institutions, we allowed them all to get in business with a dictatorship that enslaved people and used that slave labor to increase their profits and destroyed the working class people in this country. That's why Donald J. Trump is the 45th president of the United States. And that's why Joe Biden, if the Democrats want to put up Joe Biden, then put up Joe Biden. And I'm not talking about his sexual harassment of the girl. I'm not talking of the young woman. I'm not talking about how he's not with the program after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm talking about Obama appointed him to be the guy in charge of the pivot to Asia. And he's totally and completely compromised by the Chinese Communist Party. Not even his dirtbag son taking all the money from him. I'm talking about him personally. He misled us time and time and time again, and to the day, and to the moment on January 31st of this year when President Trump said, hey, I think we got to stop the flights coming in for China, Biden, as a free man, chose to back the Chinese Communist Party on their party line. You're a xenophobe, you're a nativist, you're a racist. That was Joe Biden. He had a free choice at that time. And what did he do? He backed the Nazis. He backed the dictators. Every death, Biden, would have been on your hands if we had done what you wanted to do. You're not acceptable. You do not meet the standards to be the commander in chief when we are in a war with the Chinese Communist Party, an information war and a hot economic war. And it's a disgrace to the Democratic Party that you went through a primary and never brought this topic up in the mainstream, in Rachel Maddow, in MSNBC, in CNN. We are very comfortable about how history is going to judge us, okay? We're very comfortable about that. We'll be weighed and measured just like you. We're very comfortable what side of the football we're on, the Chinese people. We'll return with the Chinese people and their confrontation with the CCP in just a moment.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for Granite Stone. It just doesn't stick. Granite Stone will be the last pan you'll ever need because it's pressed from a solid aluminum disc for even heat conduction, then coated 3 times with our durable Granite Stone finish. Granite Stone is metal utensil.
Okay, the tent is ready, guys.
John Frederick's personally a great guy, the oracle of the deplorables. I now think I'm actually have some Chinese people. I'm gonna stop my rant. Somehow, this whole thing has triggered me, and I tell you why. This is what we're going to be remembered for. We're not going to remember for anything else. This is what we're going to be remembered for: the great confrontation of the free people of the West in a dictatorship that has enslaved their own people, and we went along with it. We financed it. We gave it its technology, and the reason was we did it for, as Jack Maxey reminded me during the break, for money. We did it for money. It's just not acceptable. And now we got to be sorry. Look what it's done to the country. Look at the economic carnage. Look at the blood. 52,000. We'll be as many dead as in Vietnam, right? We'll be as many dead as Vietnam by Monday. In Vietnam was 9 or 10 years. This has been 9 or 10 weeks, right? And it's not stopping. That's the whole thing in Politico today. It's not going to stop. The model, the 60,000 is supposed to be the whole first wave. It's just going to keep on. It's going to keep on. We're at a plateau now. It's not going to keep at this level, but the plateau is what fooled them, right? They didn't. Jack was saying, hey, I think they think their model's up, and some guys, other guys, had straight down to zero. That didn't happen. Here's the reason. We know very little about this virus. They're mocking President Trump for the UV and for the light and for the bleach. Hey, who knows? That's what we keep saying. You ought to step up there and have all therapeutics, have a list of we ought to be looking at 1,000 things. And no, I'm not saying take a pod and start sucking on a bleach pod. No. But the UV, you don't know. There's some stuff out today. The guys are looking at this long term. We don't know. We ought to be funding all those therapies. We ought to be funding all these different potentials for testing. And for antibodies testing, we ought to do it all. I don't happen to think there's going to be a vaccine anytime certain. And we're going to find out as this thing mutates. It's got different things they're talking about now in the Washington Post. A huge story today. People in their 20s and 30s, when they get it, they're dying of strokes. Right? They're dying of strokes. We don't know. We know very little about this. It's just come upon us. We know very little about it. But I'll tell you one thing, and I'm just backing up what the Nobel Prize winner from 2014, the French doctor, he's saying he's backing up the guys at IIT we had back on the show in January, that this did not come in God's plan, okay? There was human intervention tweaking this somehow. I don't know, but I do know when a smart guy says that over and over and over and again, the IIT guy said we should look at that, and you see this thing mutating and nobody can get control of it, right? And I want to think about this. You're just getting it in your grill here in the last 10 or 12 weeks. The Chinese people, a civilization that's 4,000 years old, lives under this boot every day. Finance, you got to embrace this. When I say financed by the West, this is the audience, you have to embrace it. Financed by your money. Remember, the hedge funds and the banks, it's all pension fund and insurance company money. It's called institutional money. That institution is the cops, the firemen, the nurses, the teachers, you at your companies. They all manage pension fund money. The reason this is a Greek tragedy is because by our own hand we were smitten. Our institutions on Wall Street, our corporations that are all supported by institutions. Zuckerberg had no money when he starts off. He got venture capital money. The venture capital got the venture capitalists. Those guys in Silicon Valley don't have the money. They manage the money. They manage your money. It was your money. Your money. That did this. You didn't know that because nobody told you. That's why it's not a conspiracy. It's in plain sight. This is plain sight. The problem with the conspiracy, then it's all kook stuff. You don't have to be kooky. Just look at the way the system works. This was the pension fund money of the deplorables that financed all the factories going over to China and left you with no jobs, right? And the opioids coming in and destroying the working class in these states. This is the reason Donald Trump's president. The managed decline, Thucydides' trap, Kissinger and all the geniuses. Thucydides' trap is just a fancy word for managed decline. They're the rising power. We're the declining power. right? The declining power's got to kind of nudge them to be more like we are, with the elites making money the entire time. That's the story here. Not a conspiracy. Pretty straightforward in plain sight. I want to turn now to John, who is now a free man because he's a citizen of the United States of America. He's Chinese, born in China. Family's still there. That's what we have to be very careful about how we present these guys. John, thank you very much for joining us on War and Pandemic. I'm finally glad to get you on. I'll stop my rants and let you finally have something to say. But tell people, what is it? Why is it so tough for people in China to confront the Chinese Communist Party?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Bannon. Yeah, thank you for having me on your show. By the way, the speech you just made like before the 11 o'clock is very powerful. And yes, it is getting very difficult, and actually it's more difficult for the Chinese people to confront the CCP. The fact is the Chinese Communist Party has controlled nearly all aspects of the economic, political, and the social life in China. The control is only getting tighter. So last year alone, the CCP spent $119 billion on maintaining its social stability, public security, and harmonizing those who criticize or simply tell the truth against party's will. Okay, that is why the eye doctor Li Wenliang and other 7 heroes were silenced in December 2019 when the outbreak started in Wuhan, who simply share what they knew about the virus and its human-to-human transmission with friends and colleagues. So when the situation was out of control, the CCP decided to lock down the whole city. That means no information can get in and get out of the city. So everybody has to stay at home. And remember, during the Wuhan lockdown, the people of Wuhan, they were protesting from their balconies for lack of food and supplies, shouting out they are lies to the vice premier of China. And when she did a political show and visit the local community, okay, the CCP is always afraid letting people know the truth. Instead of trying to solve the social conflicts, it chose to cover up the problem and the truth. This time, the CCP hid the nature of this virus and held back the data and the information from telling its own people and the world. Now we have the global pandemic. Up to now, we have 2.7 million people are infected and 190,000 people died of this virus. Remember, this is not the first time CCP lied. I hope this will be the last time the CCP cover up the police brutality when cracking down the demonstration in Hong Kong, arresting dozens of thousands of protesters, killing thousands of freedom-loving young people, and really turning Hong Kong a city, one with rule of law and autonomy, into a police state. It did that when the CCP imprisoned 2 million Uyghurs and put up massive surveillance in Xinjiang and in Tibet. So the whole reason why the world can see or hear those fights from the Chinese people because the CCP's the Great Firewall. So it is the most extensive and sophisticated system in the whole world. It blocked the website content, monitor your internet access, use human and bots to spread CCP lies and fake news, even use it to demonize American values and democracy. So if we put that in a simple way, the CCP put up this firewall just because they're afraid of people of China tell the world the crimes the CCP committed against its own people and how evil they are. The firewall will also stop the world from telling the Chinese people what is actually going on in the world so that CCP can keep lying to its own people. Thank you, sir.
John, could you... John, I'd like you just to, we've got some time here. I want to ask you about this concept of the social credit score, this total electronic surveillance they have the Chinese people, and particularly go back to Dr. Li's story. They tortured him and forced him to sign a confession that he would admit to being a rumor monger. Walk us through how important was that and how bad is that in life in China if you're forced to do that?
Yes, so if the social credit system, it literally is this massive surveillance system. right? They use all the system like Skynet, and they also use some other platform like the WeChat and also the QQ from the Tencent. They were the CCP surveillance tool to monitor your activity online, right? So once the police will track your activity, will find out who you are, they will knock your door and even call you to go to the police station to confess, to admit the crimes you made, simply telling the truth online. Okay, so the punishment can be very severe, because once you sign the admonishment letter, right, now you are in the system. Okay, so what they can do is they can simply, deny your access to buy airline tickets, to buying train tickets. That means you cannot get out of your city. You are literally confined to your local. And by doing that, there's no way for you to get help. There's no way for you even to, spread the information to other people anymore. So this is how the evil and the powerful system is.
John, we got a couple of minutes, so 2 minutes here. I want you to go through, how can the American people, we have a big audience of deplorables. We are listened to by the political class and the hedge fund guys and the news producers, but our most important audience is the Trump base, and quite frankly, a lot of the Bernie Sanders economic nationalists. What can the American people do to assist their brothers and sisters in China so that they can achieve their freedom?
Yes, sir. So as a matter of fact, the people in the West can do a lot of things to help, but I want to begin with the easiest one. That is, please do not trust any propaganda from the CCP, whether it's from domestic or from overseas, right? They are straight lies. The people in the West should ask one very simple question. If the CCP dictator regime doesn't treat its own citizens with any respect and any human dignity, why the people in the West expect themselves to be treated any differently? Second, we need more people from the West like you, Mr. Bannon. And your WarRoom, your fantastic crew, Jack Maxey, Jason Miller, Rahim Kassam, who give the American the facts, the truth, and give Chinese people your support that bring them the hope. That is why the VOG, we translate your show every day. We add Chinese subtitles, put them on the GTV, so the more folks from China get to know you and your great show. I also want to see that Chinese people are especially grateful to President Trump, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Peter Navarro, Senator Tom Cotton, and those who know this is not about Chinese people. So they are being tough to the CCP, making sure when this is over, CCP must be held accountable for this pandemic crisis. So lastly, I want to see is the most urgent thing above all for the West to do to help the Chinese people is to take down that firewall. As long as the wall is there, there will be no truth. The CCP keep using this firewall to demonize the American value and democracy. Tearing down that wall should be the key response from the West to take down the CCP. Thank you, sir.
John, thank you very much. You're a great patriot. You're a great patriot to your brothers and sisters in China, where you were born, and you're a great patriot to the United States, which is the country that you've adopted. So we want to thank you very much for your heroism every day. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
President
God
Reagan,
bless you.
Thank you, John. President Reagan said it back in the 80s. How about this as a strategy? We win, they lose. Tear down this wall. That's what he said in Berlin at the Brandenburg Gate. That's what we're saying here. The Chinese are saying, tear down this firewall. We're going to return in just a moment.
Pain, swelling, stiffness. When your hands hurt, you can't function. Until now. Introducing the new Copper Fit compression gloves with Sure Grip technology to give you more power, more control, and more agility than ever. Our most advanced copper-infused compression fabric woven into an ultra-lightweight performance glove that fits like a second skin to support relief and recovery of sore muscles and painful joint stiffness. And new Sure Grip bands built in to provide a strong, non-slip grip for more power and control.
You need total control of your hands when you're doing anything with construction. Your hands are your livelihood. The copper-fit gloves are great. The grip is outstanding here with these different ribs. It makes my hand a lot more usable. It just feels like you're just ready to start the job.
The gloves have been a game changer for me. They help with flexibility and pain and soreness. They allow me to do my job even better.
Breathable wicking fabric with an open finger design for full range of motion, feel, and control.
They relieve my pain. When I grab something, I'm not in pain. The support or whatever magic these things do, I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter to me what it is. It works.
I get a lot of pain, and it can make it difficult to do the smallest thing. While I'm wearing this, I do not have any pain. I can use it on the keyboard. I can use my phone. I drive with it. I sleep with it. I love this glove.
The new Copperfit compression gloves with Sure Grip technology. Relief from painful muscle and joint soreness. Guaranteed or your money back. Call 1-800-984-5571 or on the web at getcopperfitgloves.com for only $19.99. Order right now and your shipping is free.
I tried it. I use it. I know it works.
Copperfit gloves definitely just make my life better.
I've used Copperfit before. This has helped my hands so much. These things work.
Feel better with copper-infused compression. Ask for it by name. Copperfit compression gloves.
I'm Nick Bolton, and these days...
Hey there.
Hey there. It seems everybody has a pair of tactical sunglasses.
Good morning.
Morning. But what if you already wear glasses? Then you need these flip-up tack glasses. These new glasses fit right over your existing eyewear to give you all the benefits of our tack glasses while you comfortably wear your regular glasses. Plus, like all tack glasses, flip-up tack glasses feature Bell & Howell light filtering technology that makes invisible objects suddenly become visible. There's just nothing like them on the market today. Here you go, buddy.
Thanks, Nick. Act now to get your flip-up tack glasses for just $19.99, and we'll even ship them to you free. But wait, order today and you can get a second pair. Just pay a separate fee. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-284-4127 or go to flipupglasses.com. That's 1-800-284-4127 or order online at flipupglasses.com.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Descent into Hell Part 3. The Chinese people confront the Chinese Communist Party. We're live on Capitol Hill in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. We're going to get another Chinese dissident on here in a second, let you know how the CCP rolls against its own people. I think what John, our last guest, said was so powerful. If you want to see how they'll run the world, look at how they treat their own people. The lack of dignity, the lack of respect, the slavery they put the Chinese people in. And that's how you see how they're going to do. That's why this pandemic is just an opening, a taste of how they roll. Jack, we got some breaking news.
Some more interesting thing. We've been talking a lot over the last weeks how this sort of cracks in the facade concerning the world's opinion of the CCP. And out of Tanzania just yesterday, the president, John Magufuli, said that no on the Bridge and Belt and Road program. They were going to rebuild a port in Tanzania. It was going to cost $10 billion. The Chinese wanted a 99-year lease and all sorts of other things. He said, forget it. We don't want your port. We don't want your debt slavery. And we're watching this happen everywhere.
This is the countries in the third world, particularly in Africa, in the Caribbean, are starting to wake up to the fact of what the Chinese Communist Party is doing. It's the British East India Company in reverse. What they're doing is to bribe the elites, right? Kind of what they did here, bribe the elites, and then put in so much debt, predatory capitalism, put in so much debt that they can't pay it back, foreclose on the debt, and then take the ports, take the railroads, take all the infrastructure they built, just take it and they control it. And now you're seeing leaders like throughout the world, these developing countries saying, hey, I need the money for development. I want to do things for our people, but I'm not taking this money.
Well, and the other thing is also in the midst of this crisis, right? They canceled the G20 meeting because they don't want to deal with the World Health Organization. But quietly over the last 3 days, they just named and essentially declared sovereign property 80 underwater geographic features in the South China Sea. And so there's two programs, right? The public program of the CCP and the behind the scenes scam that they're playing across the world. And the world is waking up to this.
I'll be on Jesse Waters' show tonight in the A block right after Jesse does his opening monologue to talk about the Chinese Communist Party and the war that they have now, the information and the economic war that they are engaged, this hot war against the West. So Jesse and I talk about that. One of the things we bring up is the South China Sea. I think it was in 2015 when I was doing the radio show over at Sirius XM for the Breitbart radio show. I had a guest on. I talked about it. I think it was in 15 that I'd sailed. I'd been in the South China Sea on a Navy destroyer in the 7th Fleet back in the late 70s, mid 70s, late 70s. And I said, hey, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to be in a shooting war in the South China Sea with the Chinese Communist Party and their Navy. They're trying to make that an internal sea. This is why they had such a big controversy when President Trump was president-elect, and he said he took a call. A president-elect of the United States took a call from an old ally, Taiwan, took a phone call, a congratulatory phone call from the president of Taiwan. These guys went through full meltdown. They went through full meltdown, and we met with them. They had the 7-dotted thing. They think that South China Sea, one of the most important bodies of water in the world, into your daily economic life. The South China Sea. They say it's an internal sea of ours. They say, hey, this is ours. This is why the Philippines are up in arms. This is why all the littoral nations. You heard Lutvak, and by the way, I'm going to be doing a special, 1-hour special with Professor Lutvak. We're going to actually do it today and put it up hopefully this afternoon or throughout this. It's going to be a special, War Room special, on the geopolitics of the war against the Chinese Communist Party. He's the top geopolitical thinker in the world. Professor Edward Lutvak, you guys loved him so much last week that we're going to have him back, but he's going to walk through this whole thing. And remember, the first examples he was bringing up were Malaysia and Vietnam and the Philippines and Indonesia. Those nations around that body of water down there don't trust the Chinese Communist Party and know that they're coming to take their sovereignty, right? This is about free men and free women throughout the world. Is freedom perfect throughout the world? No, freedom is not perfect. Not perfect here. It's a very messy democracy, right? But it is at least a democracy. And this is what the people in China, the people under the boot of these jackals and gangsters in Beijing. And why are they jackals and gangsters? If they were decent people, as the Southampton University report says, 95% of all the deaths, 95% of all the economic carnage could have been solved by one thing. All they had to do was just to tell the world and admit there was community transmission, community spread, and human-to-human transmission in late December, early January. This could have all been avoided. It could have all been avoided. Why did they not do that? We're going to find out at the end of the day, because they didn't want you to find out where it came from. Okay? If they weren't trying to hide where it came from, if it was just a wet market, if it was just simply a wet market, they would have come forward right away. Okay? Why didn't they come forward right away? They're trying to hide it. Why did they cancel the G20 conference call yesterday? We need the countries of the world, the 20 biggest economies, to work in unison as individual sovereign nations to pull us out of the economic carnage caused by this pandemic and to work together to make sure that with this pandemic doesn't spread more. We need that to work together. Everybody admits that. The Chinese Communist Party cancels the call. Why did they cancel the call? Because the United States of America, President Trump and Pompeo, put on the agenda. What's on the agenda? The World Health Organization. What about that tweet on the 14th of January of 2020? That tweet says we've been in communication and the Chinese Communist Party health minister tells us there's no human-to-human transmission and no community spread. That is a stone-cold lie. The reason you're in your house today on a beautiful spring day, the reason that if you're Jewish, you weren't able to celebrate Passover, if you're Muslim, you can't do Ramadan, and if you're a Christian, you couldn't celebrate in a community the risen Christ on Easter Sunday, because the atheists of the Chinese Communist Party that hate any religion lied. And here's why they lied. They lied because they didn't want the World Health Organization and our CDC and the Imperial College in London and Dr. Gabriel Leung at Hong Kong University, all the great brains of the world, the minds of the world, the virus hunters. They didn't want them in there. They still won't let them. They don't want them in there. Why do they want them in there? Because it didn't come from a wet market. Okay, we all know it didn't come from a wet market. Okay, we know it didn't come from a wet market. Now I want to pivot to Dr. Bo. Dr. Bo, you've had to live on, you're now a naturalized American citizen, but you were born and raised in China. Many of your family members are there. How is it the CCP, how do they actually control the good people, our brothers and sisters in China? How are they controlled by the Chinese Communist Party?
Hello, Mr. Bannon. Well, Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, they control people using two different methods. One is they're working on the internal, the mind control. They brainwash the people from a very young age, even kindergarten. When we were in kindergarten, we have to recite, I love my country, I love the people, I love Chinese Communist Party every day. So that's how the brainwash started. They divided people, and they keep this brainwashing thing going all through the whole education, all the way through college, even graduate schools. So the political side of the classes are a required class, throughout the education. So what they are doing is they try to push a ideology, they themselves don't even believe in. So this is just a total lie from the beginning. It doesn't make sense. From a very young age to the adults, they keep brainwashing people using their media, using their education system, using all kinds of things people can access every day, and they shut off the people's access to the real world, to real knowledge by using the firewall. And then on the other side, they build probably the world's strongest state apparatus. Okay, they control every aspect of people's life. They call this to maintain the political stability, called 维稳, means maintain political stability. Okay, Jun already mentioned this, that in 2019 the fund to maintain the political stability is like 1.5 trillion RMB or something like that, in trillions. And this number is even higher than their military spending. So this is crazy, just to control people's mind. And on the hardware side, it is even more scary on the hardware side. They did this kind of like a Sky network of CCTVs, the surveillance system. They watch every single piece of people's life. Okay, I think from a report, they installed 400 million cameras all across the country. They watch you when if you're a foreigner, you land in the airport, they watch you. You come out of the airport, you go into the taxi, they watch you. You check into your hotel, they watch you. They watch you all the time. There is a BBC reporter did one interesting test, is that if he wants to run away, if he wants to escape, how fast the system can catch him. And the number is 7 minutes. If you try to run away from the CCTV system, they will catch you in 7 minutes. A fresh face, because they use AI, they use all these technologies they stole from the West to recognize people's face. They recognize people's voice. They can pinpoint your location by this Sky network of CCTVs in under 7 minutes. This is how scary it is. So this is what kind of environment Chinese people are living. And they always say that if you do not make any mistakes, if you do not cross the line, you're fine, right? But the CCP draws the line. They can move the line any day, to closer or farther. You don't know where the line is. You have no idea when or where you will be crossing the line, and you will be in trouble. Ms. Bannon.
Dr. Bo, hang on. I want to hold you over the commercial break. We're going to have you join us because I got more questions to go through about why they do this to the great Chinese people, this ancient civilization. They move the line. Remember, they can move the line anytime they want. That's what a dictatorship does. Hashtag War Room Pandemic. I want to hear all your comments, your observations, and questions you would like to have answered. We're going to take a short commercial break. We'll return. Descent into Hell Part 3. The Chinese people confront the Chinese Communist Party.
Welcome to Drive Across America, brought to you by CarShield. I'm your host, Chris Berman. CarShield makes sure you don't pay for expensive car repairs. We all know the cars will break down, and if your car is out of warranty, those expensive repairs could really be a disaster. That's where CarShield comes in. With coverage through CarShield, you'll never have to pay for covered repairs again, which is why I'm a very happy customer. Now let's hear from the fans. How has CarShield helped you?
I saved $6,000 on my engine.
Wow, and what about you?
They saved me $3,500 on my AC compressor.
Well, you heard it here, folks. CarShield is America's #1 auto protection provider for a reason.
When your car's check engine light comes on, that could spell big trouble for you and your wallet. An engine, transmission, or computer system breakdown could cost you thousands of dollars. But with CarShield, you'll never pay on covered repairs. CarShield covers practically all makes and all models, new or used.
The first 3 months, we saved $4,100.
CarShield saved me $7,000 on an engine and $3,000 on a transmission.
I saved $4,100 out of pocket.
CarShield's protected over 1 million Americans from expensive car repairs. It's the coverage that virtually pays for itself.
If your car is out of warranty, you're at risk of getting stuck with expensive car repairs. Call CarShield now and get towing, roadside assistance, and rental car coverage at no extra cost.
That's our show today, but don't drive another second without protection from CarShield. Why do we love CarShield?
CarShield cars go farther!
Now it's the time to make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed. And once your car breaks down, it's too late. Call 800-580-0521, 800-580-0521.
I sent your new prescription to the pharmacy. Any idea how much it will cost? You have a choice. Insurance or GoodRx? I have insurance. Insurance is not what it used to be. People struggle to get their prescriptions covered, and prices keep rising. I recommend GoodRx. You get free coupons to save on your prescriptions. Compare prices to find the best discounts.
GoodRx. Smart.
Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
This is Kate.
Hey.
She takes 2 prescriptions. Kate's son Jack takes 1 too. Kate works hard and thought she had good insurance. But she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Episode 139, War Room Pandemic. This is our special, third Saturday in a row. It's Descent into Hell Part 3. The Chinese people confront the Chinese Communist Party. A couple of programming notes tonight. I'll be on Jesse Waters. I think it's 8 o'clock is Jesse's show at 8 o'clock on Fox News. Jesse will start off. He's got an amazing monologue that I think everybody should hear. And then I will be on to discuss my favorite topic, the Chinese Communist Party. So I'll be on Jesse tonight. We'll talk about the woke America as this Pew study, which the mainstream media anytime a Pew comes out with something negative about President Trump, it's the headline in the New York Times and the Washington Post. Just saying, right? When they actually mention about the American people shifting on the center of gravity and now understanding the Chinese Communist Party is the greatest threat, the existential threat to free men and women in the entire world, crickets. Why is that? That's called kowtowing to the China. They're afraid. They're afraid of having their operations thrown out of China. They're afraid of being shut down. They're afraid of no investments in their company. It's a complete scam. It's a racket. Okay, it's a racket. We're going to peel back the layers, layer upon layer of the racket, and point to who are collaborators, who have helped us who's helped the Chinese Communist Party jam us up into the system. Before we get back to Dr. Bo, we've got some breaking news. Mr. Jack Maxey, Mr. Greg Manns.
Well, we had some stuff from the Philippines, which again, I think is a really interesting show about the cracks concerning the relationship of the Chinese Communist Party with the rest of the world. The ambassador of the Philippines put out a music video showing the love between the Chinese people and the Filipinos and how they were going to rescue them from the virus that they gave them. But what was interesting is they had a refrain in the song that says, "You and me belong to one sea." And almost immediately the Filipinos went bananas. They're saying, what if we say two Chinas, And
that's the South China Sea. They're trying to claim, they're trying to claim it's ours.
Same along with what they did earlier this weekend with naming all of the underwater features as Chinese.
What's happening in Korea? Breaking news out of South Korea. Or North Korea, I guess.
The breaking news out of North Korea is obviously the question concerning whether or not
stay focused with
whether or not Kim is on his deathbed or not. We seem to be getting some conflicting stories. The Japanese say that they hear he's brain dead. We're getting from the Straits Times that he seems to be okay, and the South Korean.
So China, the Japanese, major Japanese news sources are saying that he's in a coma, he's brain dead.
Yes.
The Straits Times was out of Singapore. Remember, the Straits Times in Singapore, the South China Morning Post out of Hong Kong, and then the Japanese paper, and of course the Taiwan News Service are the four great organs of a free speech over there. Although the South China Morning Post is owned by Jack Ma, who's pure CCP.
Right.
But Straits Times, what are they saying?
The South Koreans are actually saying that they are finding that there is no intelligence coming out of North Korea that says there's a crisis going on. So they're assuming that he's in decent shape. But what's interesting
if he's not a crisis, but what a
the
delegation.
Chinese Foreign Office sent a delegation to North Korea last night to consult with the government concerning various things. They believe that there was also a medical delegation that went along with them, but it does show that there's some crisis brewing there, and we should all keep an eye on it.
China controls it's North Korea, Pakistan's their partner, the Iranians, the Persians, Turkey, and Russia. That's the group. That's their side of the football.
Big crack in Pakistan too. We may as well get it all out today.
Go.
Pakistan is part of the Belt and Road program, the debt slavery for the third world from the Communist Chinese Party. And they have massive investments from China inside Pakistan, and they requested yesterday a 10-year extension on any loan payments for about $10 billion that they owe the Chinese Communist Party. Now, what's really interesting is, as Pakistan's suffering under this virus, China has been scrambling to try and run this PR campaign in conjunction with the Pakistani government to convince everybody they're all friends. But what they're realizing is that they're not. And the Chinese laborers who are supposed to be in Pakistan to fix all these projects aren't coming back. There's questions as to whether or not they're going to be allowed to be returned in the country. And I think I said it 3 or 4 weeks ago, watch the relationship between Pakistan and China, because if that starts to fall apart,
could all come unravel. By the way, the mullahs, the Chinese oil company in the loans is the only thing that keeps the mullahs. The sanctions that President Trump has had on has choked down the mullahs. That's what Soleimani was flying around to Beirut and into Baghdad to put down these revolts in the street. The revolt in the street in Tehran, they think they killed 1,500 demonstrators back in December. That revolt is because President Trump's sanctions are choking down the mullahs in Persia. And who's their partners? The Chinese Communist Party. It's that oil company that keeps them in business, those loans. So those speedboats are all around there as the Fifth Fleet and the Seventh Fleet patrol the North Arabian Sea and the Persian Gulf. But we got to ask a fundamental question. Saudi Arabia, whose side of the football are you on? Because Saudi Arabia, MBS just went gangster on our oil industry. Okay? The President Trump yesterday in the Oval Office said that we're going to save it, we're going to put money back into it. We have to. Particularly the fracking industry, that's the backbone of the full spectrum energy dominance of the United States, a key part of our economy. Under Obama, half of his GDP growth came from fracking in the oil industry. It's the backbone. It's the highest paying jobs, blue collar jobs, I think the deplorables have, maybe outside of Boeing. Okay? That oil industry in the Permian Basin, up in Oklahoma, in the Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania, and up in the North Plains in the Bakken, up in North Dakota, that's the backbone of American energy, not independence, full spectrum dominance, where we're now an exporter. That's why MBS in Russia came at us. The question is, hey, you guys were outside of the football in the 80s. We could not have taken down the Soviet Union. President Reagan could not have done it unless the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was our partners. Called pump, pump, pump. Destroy the Russian oil industry. So they had very little cash flow in which to rearm or to continue their armament. That's in the book Reagan's War by Peter Schweitzer, made into a brilliant, award-winning documentary by a young documentarian, Stephen K. Bannon, called In the Face of Evil. I have to get that film back out. We win, they lose. That was a guy they used to mock and ridicule. You know, the reason Schweitzer did the book, here's why he did the book. He went into the KGB files. After the fall of the Soviet Union, and to the eyes of the KGB, they looked at their enemy. The one guy they feared was a governor in California, who the mainstream media and Henry Kissinger thought was a kook, a wingnut. Kissinger called him. It's in the film, in the book. Henry Kissinger called Governor Reagan at the time, the most dangerous man in America. And you know why? He said they're an evil empire and they got to come down. We can't have rapprochement. We can't have détente. The whole scam. Graham Allison and Kissinger, the Thucydides trap was all from the 70s, ladies and gentlemen. When I was in the Navy, this is the whole thing. You got to have Soviet Union's on the rise, their economy, a control economy. We got the Arab oil embargo. We have 20% interest rates. We don't know what we're doing. The West is decadent. They're confused. They're incompetent. Same scam. They're the rising power. We're the declining power. We have to have rapprochement. We have to have the salt tree. We have to have all this. Hey, Reagan goes, how big is their economy? Oh, it's the size of California. Why are we so afraid of them? We win, they lose. You cut the Chinese Communist Party today. You cut them off from Wall Street. You cut them off from the technology. You cut them off from, you seize their wealth. You strip their sovereign immunity. You let the assemblyman in New York go after them on the JASTRA as a terrorist organization. You let the Attorney General in Missouri, you let Josh Hawley, Crenshaw, and Cotton, these voices are coming up. You field strip them of their sovereign immunity. You seize their assets. We take the $1 trillion they lent us. Hey, guess what? It's ours. Okay? There's going to be these new bonds that are talked about from 1912. You're going to see this story coming up in the next couple of weeks. They owe us $1 trillion, the deplorables. Collect on that. This is not about the Chinese people. Chinese people are totally innocent here. They're the victims. It's their freedom. Whoever assists the Chinese people in their freedom in the first half of the 21st century will write the history of the 21st century. It's all online. That's what this pandemic brought up. That's what this pandemic. Remember, if they had acted like decent human beings in late December and early January, and all they had to do was say, hey, we think all they had to do is say, there's human transmission in Wuhan, and can you guys help? Okay, here's what you need. Here's what the sequencing is. They lied and they suppressed it. It's not because embarrassing. They was going to metastasize. You know why they lied and suppressed it? They didn't want you to see what it was. They turned, and this was the question I got, Dr. Bo. The wet market, all those videos that came out were all CCP videos. Because they want to make the people of the world think the Chinese people are barbarians, right? They're the ones that push the wet market. They want the world's people to sit there and go, man, those Chinese people, God, you can't, what's the problem with them? I'm glad they're under control by the CCP. So, Dr. Bo, this is why I can't understand, having been in China, in and around it since the 70s, the decency, the grit, the determination of the Chinese people. And you see, when they combine with English common law, look at Hong Kong, the third greatest capital market in the world on a barren island. Okay, they built up from colonial times with the British and then took control themselves. Right? Until we turned it back over to the CCP. The Hong Kong people with English common law in Taiwan, and in Singapore, in the United States, in England. English common law and the grit, determination, and decency of the Chinese people creates miracles. So, Dr. Bo, my question is, why does the CCP treat the Chinese people? It's a 4,000-year-old civilization. Lao Beijing, the old 100 names, the most decent, hardworking folks in the world, just want to be left alone. Why do they treat the Chinese people like this?
Yes. Well, we have to understand that's a very good question. We need to understand the primary goal of CCP. What is the primary goal of CCP? Is to stay in power. Okay. CCP came into power by violence, okay, by civil war, and they stayed in power without people's approval. So what they will do is to do whatever they can to push to the extreme limit to stay in power. That can explain all kind of different things that they did, through the years, like the Cultural Revolution back in 1960s, 1970s. Cultural Revolution is coming from Mao's illusion that his grasp of power was in danger. So he started this Cultural Revolution for like 10 years just to compete with imaginary enemy, and 10 years of turmoil. Okay, total destruction of Chinese culture, and 20 million people perished. That's one example. And then the Tiananmen Square protests. That's another fine example. It's like if Chinese Communist Party has the slightest fear that their power, their totalitarian regime they control is in danger, they will go out to crush you. They will go out to crush anything that is threatening their power. So that can explain why CCP treats its own people like this. After the Tiananmen Square, they became more. They're getting smarter. They're granularized this kind of crushing down. They do not do like the full blown and like a Tiananmen Square and then make themselves look like a butchers. In front of the whole world. They granularize these things. They try to crush every little small protest. They try to crush every single person that might have a rebellion spirit. For example, now if you are in China, if you have like say an old lady, collapse in the street, if you want to go help her, you might be in trouble. If you see like a guy is bullying some weak people, if you want to interfere, and for example, if you start a fight with a guy, you will be in trouble. If your house is got a burglar is in your house, and you try to defend yourself, you fight with him, got him injured or dead, you will be in trouble because self-defense is also punishable because that shows people have the spirit of rebellion.
Dr. Bo, we got to jump. I appreciate you coming on in the spirit of rebellion. We'll be back in 1 second.
Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to the biggest auto protection show on earth, brought to you by CarShield. I'm your host, Chris Berman. If your car is out of warranty or close to expiring, CarShield makes sure you don't have to pay for expensive auto repairs. That's why I'm a customer. Let's catch up with the action, where happy customers have saved thousands on car repairs.
The first 3 months, we saved $4,100.
CarShield saved me over $6,000 in engine repairs.
Those repair bills never had a chance. Look at those Hall of Fame dance moves. Saving money on expensive car repairs with CarShield will do that to you.
It's like having a suit of armor around my car.
I never have to worry about being taken advantage of when it comes to car repairs.
We're just happy with CarShield. They put a transmission in it and a motor. Who does that?
When your car's check engine light comes on, that could spell big trouble for you and your wallet. An engine, transmission, or computer system breakdown could cost you thousands of dollars. But with CarShield, you'll never pay on covered repairs. CarShield covers practically all makes and all models, new or used.
When it comes to protecting you from expensive repairs, there's a new sheriff in town. CarShield is rumbling and tumbling all over that repair bill. Goodbye expensive car repairs and hello savings. This guy just scored the CarShield hat trick. That's towing, roadside assistance, and rental coverage at no extra cost. That's what I call MVP protection. Don't get stuck paying for those expensive repairs. Call CarShield and tell them the Swami sent you.
Now it's the time to make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection plan quote. It's only a matter of time until repairs are needed. And once your car breaks down, it's too late. Call 800-580-0514, 800-580-0514.
I'm Nick Bolton, and these days...
Hey there.
Hey there. It seems everybody has a pair of tactical sunglasses.
Good morning.
Morning. But what if you already wear glasses? Then you need these flip-up tack glasses. These new glasses fit right over your existing eyewear to give you all the benefits of our tack glasses while you comfortably wear your regular glasses. Plus, like all tack glasses, flip-up tack glasses feature Bell & Howell light filtering technology that makes invisible objects suddenly become visible. There's just nothing like them on the market today. Here you go, buddy.
Thanks, Nick.
Act now to get your flip-up tack glasses for just $19.99, and we'll even ship them to you free. But wait, order today and you can get a second pair. Just pay a separate fee. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-284-4127 or go to flipupglasses.com. That's 1-800-284-4127 or order online at flipupglasses.com.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to War Room Pandemic. We're live on Capitol Hill. It's the third Saturday of our special, Descent into Hell Part 3. The Chinese people confront the Chinese Communist Party. Now honored to have Ali join us. She's a Chinese citizen, but she's in a third country. Want to thank you for the bravery and the courage to come on. Ali, the Chinese Communist Party puts out that, hey, all this stuff is nonsense. It's just all anti-corruption. We're trying to root out the bad guys. We're trying to root out all the corruption in Chinese society, so that everything we do of this repression, the prisons, the lack of courts, all of that is to root out corruption and to help the Chinese people live a better life. What do you say about that?
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Bannon. Very glad to be with you. Okay, for this anti-corruption movement or all the propagandas, don't forget, Communist Party only utilize this as useful tools to tell the world that we are clean. But actually, they are playing a very bad two-faced trick. And these propagandas are showing that they are wearing a disgusting mask of evil. Okay, so actually, CCP rule the country by gangsterism, we know, and also by terrorism, and the anti-corruption by another corrupted group, and the anti-corruption by abusing power of police and the internet force. And at the same time, they are using the lying propaganda to tell the world that what they are. They want to let people know in the outer world of the civilized countries, while at the same time, they are doing dirty, very bloody, dirty things to their own people. There are actually in China, there are only two classes in China. Power class, around 5% or less than that, and in the middle, and also circled by the non-power class, about 95% or more. Extreme power brings extreme corruptions. So everyone in the center is corrupted. Groups inside CCP, they fight with each other just like gangsters fight on the road, no different. So even though no gangster group or no CCP people dare to reveal the truth of CCP to outer world because the tasty life they enjoyed. Together, they could maintain their power. And another side of communists is terror. Don't forget that. They have the full power on the police, army, and all the government tools is in their hand. So they could kill you if you dare to betray them. The only one whistleblower of CCP, Mr. Miles Guo, he the only one survived and can tell the people in the outer world. That is the truth, Mr. Bannon.
Talk to us about the firewall. This is what the American people are just starting to understand, and they're confused. How can they possibly take a great people like the Chinese people and put them behind a digital firewall so they can't communicate freely with the West and they can't get information from the West? And they can't tell us their stories of oppression. What is this firewall, and how important is it to come down, and how can the American people help the Chinese people in tearing down the wall?
Okay, firstly, we should know that this firewall is built by very expensive cost. That cost is Chinese people's money, their taxpayers' money. Don't forget, in China, we are the highest taxpayer in the world, the indirect tax up to 75%. During the past 20 years, from year 2001, from China and WTO, the CCP only support group of government-owned companies until sizable to billions and trillions. CCP, the top leaders, they put their son and grandsons sit on the top of the company as the directors, and they draw down loan and they invest to Americans. So they get the support from the technology support and the money support from American, from New York, from Wall Street, from European, from London, everywhere that willing to work with them. And their families had the infinity power to use taxpayers' money, to use government money, but not let you know. So all this money is the cause, how they built and why they built. Because more power they have, more money they have, the higher the wall will be. And then when the people live inside, they want to confront. We want to take down the CCP by not knowing even several minutes or several days, you will be put in the jail. So this is actually what real things for the Chinese. Their status is very worrying, actually. The normal people, if you want to have free thinking, you want to have a free speaking by knowing what really happened, it's impossible. So you have to knock down your koto, and you have to keep on your hard working to make a life and to have to be unseen. That's the safest way for you to make a life with your family safely, continuously. That's the real situation of the Chinese people now. It's very sad, actually. If you want to have your own believings, then you will be like Uyghur, you will like Tibetan, you like Falun Gong, you will be millions of people already put in jail. No one knows. And even you are neighbors, you are not allowed to know each other. Everybody have to report to the CCP, not to communicate among your friends. That is forbidden. Yeah. So very important for the Americans, for the world to help us to take down the firewall. Without money, without technology, they will not able to build up the firewall, because they are only the leader. They play money, they play women, they play people, but they don't know how to play technology. They don't know how to improve themselves. So please stop investing in CCP and stop cooperate or collaborate with the CCP government companies, and stop provide civilian technology, facial recognition, voice and face iris recognition technology, and then remove communist parties in China from the world organizations like WHO, like Interpol. They will catch you if you dare to run away from the China. You go to anywhere in the end of the world, they will catch you back, put you in jail. That's what we need. And we need really hand in hand Chinese people with American people. It's like World War II, 1949, 1940. We have the same enemy, Communist Party. That's what we have to focus.
Ali, I want to thank you for coming on. Real sign of bravery. I'm going to be doing a special with Lutvak. They'll be up tomorrow afternoon. This is the third episode, Descent into Hell Part 3. The Chinese people confront the Chinese Communist Party. We'll see you on Monday.
Everyone loves the benefits of compression socks, but they're just so hard to get on. Until now. Introducing the all-new Copperfit Energy Socks, redesigned for the first ever easy-on, easy-off fit to help reduce swelling, relieve tired, achy muscles, and provide energizing support. A new blend of stretch fabric for the most comfortable, easy-on, easy-off compression fit.
Being a SWAT commander, we train to win. The Copperfit Energy Socks, they didn't feel like other compression socks. They totally exceeded my